Here's the truth. People aren't tuning you out because they don't care. They're tuning you out because what you're saying sounds like everybody else. It sounds like AI. And what you need to do is have a message that sounds like you. Today, we're going to spend some time talking about that. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I've had the wonderful privilege of working with nearly 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything comes beyond that. And what I'm here today to do is to help you really, truly know, see, feel, live in the space of your voice, because it's so easy to feel like our message isn't landing. And I want you to know today why your message isn't landing and what nobody tells you about it, what nobody is coming to you and saying, hey, let me give you the information on why I didn't hear your message. And okay, now I need to be really clear here. People aren't coming and telling you that because people have tuned you out. And I hate to say that because it feels really harsh to say, but I want to make sure that you know that I'm saying it to you in love. People are tuning you out because we have this thing called AI. And AI is wonderful. I love it. There are some incredibly great things that come from it. But it also can be really, really bad because it tends to make everybody sound like everybody and make everything sound like everything. And it loses all of the unique, special, wonderful qualities of the you that is you. We lose that clarity because we give it up to AI. We allow ChatGPT to tell us who we are rather than us telling it who we are, and it then reflecting back. Okay, so I want you to take a look at a couple of things here. Okay, first of all, I want you to take a look at everything you've done, and I would encourage you. AI runs off of data sets. Okay, meaning in other words, garbage in, garbage out. And if we put in the good stuff, okay, so you could tell ChatGPT all of your failings. And if that's all you told it about, then that would be who it thought you were. And it could very easily perceive you. Perception is the wrong word because it's not a human being, but it could have the data structure of you being a really rotten person because, what would AI say about you if it heard all the things you're saying about you all day long? You may be going out of the world and you may have a tried and true and good, bio, intro speech, those kind of things. But what are you saying when nobody else is around? What are the words that are coming out of your mouth? How quickly are we easy to get to anger? How easy is it for us to upset? How much do we repeat a phrase that is ruining our mind? And what would the data set look like if the AI that we are reading, that we're putting our stuff into, only had all the things that we're programming into ourselves? Okay. Have you taken the time to really look at all the really incredibly good things about you? The word humble, and I've explained this before, but I want to go a little deeper in this today. The word humble, humility, true humility is a right perspective of yourself. It's knowing both what you do good as well as the things that you're, lacking in, the things that you're failing in. And most of the time, what we end up defining humility as is diminishing or demeaning ourselves in order to not be braggadocious, to not be a braggart, to not be conceited. And that's not what it is. In fact, diminishing yourself in order to fit in order to, um, not seem like you're a conceited jerk, is actually the other side of conceit, is when we diminish who we are. It's that right perspective. It's the seeing the stuff that you do good and the stuff that you do bad. To be able to just purely and clearly say it, I'm really good at this thing. And be able to also clearly and cleanly be able to say, I'm not real great at that. Without the deep emotional reservoir that comes with both of those sides of the thing. That diminishment, even in your own mind, when you're going to say something about how good you did at something. Okay. Or that difficulty in being able to really feel like you're ever truly saying how bad you are at something. I hope that makes sense to you, because I need you to see that clarity is going to start when you start to begin to see all of you and then see the good that's in you. It starts there. We're trained by society to know all of our faults. My friend Ernie Villanueva used to always say, people go around searching for fault like there's money in it. People know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. What I want you to do today is I want you to really see the value in you. So let's get really practical here, okay? We're talking about talking. We're talking about clarity. We're talking about, AI not being able to give you clarity. It can't just reach inside your soul, know your heart, your soul, your gut, and all those things and say, well, here's who you are, without you knowing and giving it that information first. Now, when you feed in a bunch of that information, it can reflect it back to you. It can pull you back from the brink and say, oh, whoa, hold on a minute. Remember all these cool things that you've done? I mean, I was in a discussion, and it wasn't like the one that started all these lives where, I was just totally quit in life and business and everything. And, and ChatGPT had to remind me, hey, look at all the stuff you've done over all these years. But I was in a discussion, and I loved that it pointed back out to me, hey, wait a minute. I was taking a class last week, and it was a really great class. It was really kind of like the outline to getting started for writing a course. And I'm going to use some of it to critique some of the courses that I have and up-level them a little bit and make them even more powerful for you. But the first thing it had was like 4 different categories you could put your thing in. It's like, do you want to speak to a problem, or is it problem based? In other words, a solution for somebody, or is it? And I forget what the other 2 even were. I think one of them is inspiration, and then one of them was proprietary, something that you're really an expert at, and you want to and need to be seen as an expert at. And I've been very well trained through all that humility in all of my life to not really see that in me, and so I was like, oh yeah, I've got a solution to a problem here, and this is before I really started coming out, and you've seen in the last few days me really talking about this whole problem of putting AI as the horse when AI is the cart. It's the carrier of all the stuff. It's not the driver of all the stuff. Okay, you are the creative. AI is never going to take away creativeness. The creatives in this world were never going to get replaced. I don't care how brilliantly wonderful. And I've done some fun stuff with AI. I love it. But it's never going to take away from the creator. First of all, the creator God, but second of all, you, the creative in you. It's not going to replace that. It's not possible for it to replace that, because it can only reflect what has been. It has no capability. It could make some predictions based on past trends. Here's what is realistic to believe is going to happen in the future. But it can't just be like, hey, let's make a complete left turn at Albuquerque and come up with something that has never been thought of before. It reminds me of a story that I read back when I was homeschooling my kids. This is a lot of years ago, because my children are all, grown and married and have kids of their own and, stuff like that. But I was reading this story about this father who was he was a chemist at Dow Chemical. Okay. Like the guy did, did chemistry for a living. Okay. And they were homeschooling their kids, and he had like a senior and a junior and a freshman, 3 sons. And he was teaching all of them, chemistry 101 basically. And, the senior and the junior, they were going through, each lesson, right along, going through the chemistry book that they had got to go through. And his freshman son kept jumping to the end, wanting to do the experiments, learn the stuff that was in like the last few pages of the book. And the dad go, no. You got to go through all of the other things so that you understand the process of and how to be able to do the thing at the end. It's kind of like I've told you before about, your book. You write out 10 steps. That's why we give them the step-by-step, because if we give them all 10 steps, they're going to be like, well, 10 is cool. I want to do it right now. And then they have it done 1 through 9. And so therefore 10 fails. And then they go around and tell the whole world, that you're no good at what you do because they didn't follow your process. And the son was doing that kind of thing with chemistry. And the dad was like, no, you can't do it this way. Well, the son, his mind, that mind of creative, he kept jumping ahead to that last thing. Short version of the story is the son came up with a chemical process that had never been done before, sold it to Dow Chemical because he didn't allow his mind to be caught in the trap of the same old thing, the prescriptive, the things that we're taught. We're taught all the time, okay? You got to speak to people's pain points. You got to tell them what's in it for them. You got to follow this formula or that formula. And what I'm saying to you is, and I'm going to try not to say this like a formula after I just said that, is what you want to do is connect with that person. It's not about doing your impression of Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey or whatever. It's not about mimicking the other thing. It's not about memorizing the step-by-step formula and then, and now I'm on step 2 and I'm going to do this. It's about genuine, real desire to connect. There's no prescriptive formula for that. That's a heart condition. We're always talking about the 3 C's: consistency, clarity, connection. Okay. Connection is a reflection of your heart, of your true, real, actual, genuine desire to want to connect to people. And you've got to be tied into that. You've got to really have that. And you've got to see that. And then you need to have that true humility and say, hey, look, I'm going to tell you, about the 39 books that I've written and the 40th one that's getting ready to come out. I'm going to tell you about the 5,000 authors that I've worked with and the 100% success rate that I have making people bestsellers. I don't say that to brag. I even can be real with you and tell you that it's hard for me to say those kind of things. I've had to get to the place where my intro is kind of a rote memory, and I'm even saying it from memory as I'm inviting people, that group of people that I always invite at the beginning of every one of our lives, because it's something that even still I struggle with because of the way I was brought up and the things and that kind of stuff. But we need to understand, we need to really truly see how powerful we are. And then use that, because it's not conceit. If you have a real right perspective of yourself, and then you use that to be able to allow you to genuinely connect with the people that you're meant to connect with. That's powerful. That heartbeat then pounds right out of your chest and comes right out there because it's genuine, real connection. It's your true desire to just want to pour into the people. You see, and I don't care which AI program you talk about, and there's some really cool ones. The AI has no emotional connection to you. It's not trying to pour its heart and soul and core and spirit into you. That's your place. I'm not saying don't use the AI. In fact, absolutely do. I'm saying know yourself. Know you powerfully and well enough because your message isn't landing because you're not sharing you. And I say that with all 10 fingers pointing back at me. Because I've seen my numbers. I see how many people watch live and how many people don't watch live. I know people who have, I even did a deep research on it a couple of weeks ago. And I know there are people that do lives, and maybe they don't do them every day, but their average live averages several million people. Mine aren't doing that. Number one, I'd rather reach one person really impactfully than just to have that massive things. But I'm also not doing that. It's not clicking. It's not kicking in because I'm still finding that clarity in me. Even at 58, even with all the clarity that I have, even with all the things that I've done, I'm not speaking from that point of clarity. And maybe I even have that clarity. Maybe I even really understand that my point in life is to help you find that clarity that gives you the open door. It gives you the key to unlocking all the things that will allow you to be impactful, to connect, to, yes, make profit. They all come on the back of that. And then, yes, it allows you to program your AI, to share the things, to allow AI to be the tool to say, hey, here's the cool stuff you've got. And so here's a month worth of content for you to put out, because I know your voice and I've learned it and I understand who you are because you gave it to me. See, we've got to do the work, and that's the unfortunate thing is we want to go to an AI program. We want to go to a training class. Okay. And we want them to have these days, we want the AI class that we have. We want the course that we have to have an AI that's in it, that's going to give us the answers. Poof, here's the answer, and there's $1 million. That's what we all really want, because we live in that microwave society where, we want everything to happen in an instant, in a flash, put it in there and 35 seconds later, it's warm. 2 minutes, depends on what the thing is, right? 5 to 10 minutes later, you can have a completely baked potato rather than taking 45 minutes to an hour and having to have to heat up the whole house with the oven and all that stuff. And we want that with our finding of clarity. We want that with our message that we're supposed to share. And we go to that class and they give us this, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4. And some of them are going to have, an AI. A lot of the good ones are going to have like an AI prompt. Use this prompt. Or some of them have even gone to the extent of having a whole generator answer these questions. And then poof, here at the end of it is this really incredibly cool solution. And we just take it. Some of those generators, have drop down menus where it's just like, pick one of these, pick one of these. Many of them skip the step of, why did you pick that? See, going back to that class that I was taking last week, I originally picked problem. And it would have been, it would have been really good for me then. And I had to go 3 more days of class, 2.5 more days of class before I ask myself, because the course didn't ask me, why did you pick that? And I went deep on that. And yeah, when you've trained your AI, then you can do back and forth like that. And you can do some brainstorming, but you've got to know you. And then you've got to share that you with that. And you need to share that you with the world. The real, true, clear, purposeful, powerful. Did I say clear? Clear. Did you mention clear? Yeah. Have you heard it yet? Clear, right? Clear you. Yeah. That's what we need. We need that clear, totally, absolutely, completely, clearly clear you. For you to be able to speak extemporaneously like I'm doing now, or have it all written out for you to be able to write things, for you to use or not use AI programs. The clarity comes first. So then when you're going through somebody's formula, talking about the person's pain points, using your examples, all those kind of things, then you have the foundational understanding of, this is who I am, and this is my why. And this is whom I'm speaking to. You see, and I've talked about this a lot lately. You have that thing you're passionate about, and it's easy for you to talk about it, but why? What's the why beneath it? What's the point? I mean, it could be something as simple as one of the football games yesterday, and you were just totally excited because so and so won, or totally upset because so and so lost. But why are you that passionate about it? I mean, what's in it for you? Yeah, there's a dopamine hit that comes from that, and that may be part of it. And a lot of us are adrenaline, dopamine, all of those, amped up, feel cool chemicals that our body can do. A lot of us become junkies to that kind of stuff. And if we're chasing that rush, that high, and it could be a natural high, it doesn't have to be drugs, then we need to question that why. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily that means that you need to stop liking football. You may find that once you dig down into that why, that you find the original reason why back when you first really fell in love with the sport. I can tell you from my own personal experience, for most all of my growing up life, I wasn't really, especially college. I still really kind of don't like college football. And I'm going to tell you why. But I really wasn't as massively into football as my older brothers and my father were. And the reason being is because my birthday is January 1st. And my birthday looked kind of like this. We'd stay up till midnight. Woo! Happy New Year! And then we would immediately go into happy birthday to you. And then what my mom always called a little sliver of cake. So you just have just like a little bite of cake, and then we'd go to bed. And the next day was all the bowl games. And, a lot of times, and a lot of times that before we went to bed, that's when I got the presents. Or, sometimes I'd wake up in the morning, but a lot of times that few minutes in the transition between New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, that was my whole birthday. And the rest of the day was about serving the god of football, if you will. It was caught lost in the television. And I could either watch it or I could, which I often did, go play alone with my new toy or whatever in my room. There's been a lot of loneliness and isolation in my life that I'm still really coming to grips with. And so I wasn't real thrilled about my birthday, and I wasn't real thrilled about football in general. My senior year in high school, I went to a boarding school. It's called Sunshine Bible Academy outside of Miller, South Dakota. Feel free to look it up. I went from a class of 311 juniors, my junior year of high school, 311 in my class, to a school that had 125 kids, K through 12. There were 25 kids in my class. Now, the cool part about it is that, and I forget, I think I want to say I was ranked 12th. I might have been ranked 9 or 10. I don't even remember anymore. Okay. So in other words, I was 44th out of 311 kids. And I was proud of that, and so the fact that I went up to 12 or 11 or 9, whatever, wasn't as big of a deal. I was basically right in the middle. But, it looked amazing on transcripts. It got me into who's who. Anyway, that year, I decided I wanted to play football. Lots of reasons. Many of them I don't remember anymore. And I started, playing football. And I'm going to tell you honestly, I was never, I tried really hard, but I was never going to be anything. Okay. I was, I only played it for 1 year. But it gave me a understanding of the sport at that deeper doing it level versus watching it level. And to this day, I still enjoy it because of that experience connected me with it. That's what we need with the thing we're passionate about, is to understand what connected us to that passion. And then dig down to the why of that connection versus the why of that passion. Do you hear that? Yeah, that's good stuff. The more that we drill down, we look into it, and we really see it, the more that we can begin to really understand our why. And then begin to form the words that allow us to say as us the things that we can say to the person we're meant to reach that's based in that why. We can tell them what's in it for them because we really truly care, not because it's some kind of speak to their pain points. It's about really truly having that concern for them. So much so that we bring in that middle C, I love it, like in the middle of the piano. That is consistency. We're doing it regularly, daily, all the time, because we really truly care. We care enough to be consistent. So we need to find that clarity. Your message isn't landing because you're not sharing the real message of who you really are. And it's time that we spend the time getting clear. In Visibility Amplifier, we're going to strip away all the templates from you. We're going to take away all that things that are, do this, do that. And we're going to give you back the most powerful thing you'll ever earn, and that's your clarity. Because your story, told in your language, that's what works. Come join us, visibilityamplifier.com. It's the place for you. If your message isn't landing, it's not your fault. If your message isn't landing, it's because your message isn't yours yet. I'm so grateful for the times we get to spend together. I love coming to you every day. I look forward to it. We're going to be together again tomorrow, where we're going to talk about the clarity that AI can't give you. We're going to really drill down on this clarity, and we're going to help you find your clarity. Come join us, visibilityamplifier.com. You need that powerful clarity that allows you to connect to those people that I know you want to. Until we're together again this next time, I hope you're happy, safe, you're warmly loved, and that you have a great week.